This AI allows you to use a photo of any person, add any talking audio, and not only can it lip sync the face to the audio, but it can also move their body accordingly. This opens up so many new possibilities. Now you can create your own news anchor or influencer, and best of all, this is free and open source. So in this video, I'm going to go over how to use this tool and how to install it locally so you can use it on your computer for free for unlimited times. So this tool is called EchoMimic version 2. Now, there's actually a version 1 of this, which is just a talking head animator. But version 2 not only makes the head talk, but it also animates the upper body of the person. So here are some examples.
Welcome to use EchoMimic V2. We hope EchoMimic V2 can bring you a better experience.
So that's one example, and note that across this entire video, his hands each have 5 fingers. So this tool can generate perfect hands and fingers. And this is because it also uses this hand pose tool to ensure that, it's tracking all 5 fingers on each hand at all times. Here's another example.
Welcome to use EchoMimic V2. We hope EchoMimic V2 can bring you a better experience.
Very nice, very nice. So it works with other languages too, like this.
Mission 前 all but received waiting orders.
Here's another example.
Homing is more than just the return flight home from migratory trips. Homing can take place at any time and from any location. It's the ability that some birds have of finding their way.
So note that there are still some minor flaws with the details of her eyes and also her teeth. But this is the worst that it's going to get. And this is like one of the only tools that can not only animate a person's face, but their entire upper body from an audio clip. And it also works with different accents. So here's an example.
At night, when the sun no longer illuminates shallower water, zooplankton head back toward the surface.
It's pretty uncanny to see this cute Chinese lady speak English with an Indian accent. Something's just off about that. Here's another example.
Animal studies have shown a correlation between acquiring new skills and new neurons actually surviving in the brain. It seems to be a usage.
Note again how with this new hand tracking feature, it's able to generate perfect hands throughout this video. Here's another example.
So how do we explain these volcanic anomalies, these exceptions to the general rule? Well, back in 1963, a geophysicist by the name of Wilson came up...
Again, just something slightly disturbing about a cute Chinese lady speaking with an Indian accent. And here are some Chinese examples.
目标明确，坚定不移，天道酬勤，永续经营。
So it seems like the AI was able to detect what this person was saying. So it was able to analyze the audio, and right at this point, this guy's basically saying be persistent, don't give up, something like that. And the AI somehow decided to raise his arm into this fist motion like this to align with the speech. Here's another example.
菩提本无树，明镜亦非台，本来无一物，何处惹尘埃。
So pretty interesting how the AI detected what he's saying. I think he's talking about Buddhism. And then because of this, it turned his hands into this prayer pose halfway in the video. Very, very interesting. Note that there are some noticeable flaws here, like the wrinkling of his arm for some reason. So this is not perfect, but this is a good start. Here's another example.
这个产品要是感觉还不错的话，就来关注点赞吧。
Again, note that over here, it kind of analyzed that the audio was talking about an e-commerce product, I assume, and she's telling the audience to hit the like button. And I guess the AI somehow detected this, and it made her do a thumbs up to perhaps signify the like button. Really cool tool. Here's another pretty interesting examples. Let me play this for you first.
奥特曼，奥特曼，把你们的光之力量借给我吧。
So this sentence is, I believe, related to Ultraman, which is this Asian superhero for your reference, and he's known to do this pose. So again, it's super interesting how the AI was able to detect that she's talking about Ultraman and then make her do this pose. So here's a comparison between other similar tools, Animate Anyone and Mimic Motion, which I've also featured on this channel. Here's the reference image, and let me just play this for you. Now, while I play this for you, notice how natural and fluid EchoMimic version 2 is compared to the other existing tools.
欢迎使用 EchoMimic V2， 希望 EchoMimic V2 能带给您更好的体验。
So you can see there's a lot more distortions and inconsistencies with both these tools, but EchoMimic version 2 handles it pretty smoothly. Here's another example.
这个产品要是感觉还不错的话，就来关注点赞吧。
Again, there's a lot of distortions with Animate Anyone, and then Mimic Motion kind of looks too rigid and fake, whereas EchoMimic, I believe, looks the most natural. And here's the last comparison video.
科学家发现新型材料有望提高能源利用效率。
So again, notice the lip sync and the movements of this dude's body. EchoMimic version 2 just handles it a lot better than the existing tools. But enough demo videos, let's actually try this out right now. Alright, so first I'm going to test this out and show you how to use it. Afterwards, I am going to show you how you can install this interface locally on your computer so you can run it unlimited times. Now, it's pretty self-explanatory, so up here you can upload an image. So for example, I'm going to upload this image. And then here is where you upload the audio clip. Now, I've tried with both WAV and MP3 files. Both of them work. First, I'm going to test it out with a British woman speaking. So let me play the audio clip for you first.
Hello. This voiceover is an AI replicate of professional voiceovers used in corporate explainer and training videos.
Alright, so a pretty simple generic AI voice. And then for the rest of these settings, I just leave them at the default values. So for example, this is the width of your output video. It says 768 is recommended, so that's what I leave it as. And then this is the height of the video. Again, 768 is recommended. And because the recommended dimensions is 768 by 768, I try to upload an image that's also 768 by 768. But you can test it out with different aspect ratios and see what that gives you. And then video length, I'm not actually sure what this does because I've tested this out with different lengths of audio, and the length of the video is just however long your audio clip is. So I'm not really sure what this does. And then steps, sampling rate, and CFG, you should be familiar with these terms if you've been playing around with Stable Diffusion or Flux. So steps is just the number of iterations used to generate the video. And in general, the more steps you have, the higher quality and more detailed the video will be, but at a certain point, you'll get diminishing returns. So if you set the steps to like 100, then it's usually too much. But if you set it too low, like 10 steps, then your video is going to be really low quality. Anyways, the default value when I open this interface is 20, so let's just leave it at that. And then sampling rate, again, I just leave it at the recommended value of 16K. CFG is the guidance. Again, I just leave it at the recommended value of 2.5. Frame rate is frames per second, so right now it's 24 frames per second. And then the rest of these, again, I just leave it at the recommended value. And then if your GPU has only 12 gigabytes of VRAM, check this box for a quantized version. But make sure that you don't upload audio longer than 5 seconds. I'm using a GPU with 16 gigabytes of VRAM, so I'm going to leave this off. Again, I'll show you how to install this interface on your computer in a second, but right now, that's pretty much all you need to do. Just upload an image, upload an audio, and then click generate. Alright, here's what we get.
Hello. This voiceover is an AI replicate of professional voiceovers used in corporate explainer and training videos.
Very nice, very nice. So you can see not only does it lip sync her mouth to the audio pretty seamlessly, but it also moves her arms and hands around. So this is a very fluid video of this person talking. Whereas, for previous free AI tools at least, the body is very rigid and the tool only moves the person's head. So this is a level up from that. Now to save it, simply click on this icon in the top right corner. Alright, next I'm going to leave the image the same, but I'm going to upload another audio clip. Let's see if this can also lip sync to Chinese. So let me play you the audio clip first.
头顶的彩虹，则象征着许多美好的机遇都将降临到你头上。
And then again, we'll leave all the settings the same and click generate video. Alright, so the video is complete, and by the way, I'm just opening up my terminal to show you that it took around 15 minutes to generate this clip. So it's pretty slow, to be honest. But I mean, this is video, and I do only have 16 gigabytes of VRAM, so it is what it is. Anyways, let's play the result and see if she can speak Chinese.
头顶的彩虹则象征着许多美好的机遇都将降临到你头上。
Very nice, very nice. So you can see this tool handles Chinese perfectly as well. And Chinese is very difficult, right? There are a lot of different consonants that are not in the English language, but it's able to handle this just fine. And again, notice how fluid her body moves as well. The arms and hands, it does look like a real person talking, and it's not just like a really rigid AI avatar. And you know, the cool thing is, if I like play this in slow-mo so you can see the video frame by frame, notice that along all the frames in the video, she has 5 fingers on each hand. So the fingers also look perfect for the most part. Alright, next I'm gonna change up the image. So let me get rid of this image and then upload another image. And now let's test out a Spanish audio clip. So let me play this for you first.
Así seguimos adelante, barcos contra la corriente, arrastrados sin cesar hacia el pasado.
And again, I'm going to leave all the settings the same and click Generate Video. Alright, our video is finished, so let's see if she can speak Spanish.
Así seguimos adelante, barcos contra la corriente, arrastrados sin cesar hacia el pasado.
Not bad, not bad. Now, I'm not like a native Spanish speaker, but this does seem to lip sync pretty well to the Spanish audio. Let me know what you think in the comments below. And again, if I play this slow-mo so you can see it frame by frame, notice that she has 5 fingers on each hand. So the hands and fingers look pretty good throughout this video. Alright, let me get rid of this Spanish clip, and finally I'm also going to test if it can lip sync to a singing audio clip. So let me play this for you first.
Feel as empty as a drum. Don't know why I didn't come.
Alright, this is a bit tricky. I'm not sure if it can actually do this. Let's leave the rest of these settings the same and click Generate Video and see what we get. Alright, our video is done. Let's play this.
Feel as empty as a drum. Don't know why I didn't come.
So you can see it lip syncs to the singing perfectly as well, whereas some other lip sync tools are not able to really handle singing. They can only do speaking, but you can see this EchoMimic tool can handle singing as well. Alright, next I'm going to upload an image of a man. And then for the audio input, let's just do a simple American male voice. Let me play this for you first.
I expect nothing but excellence from this team. Let's set the bar high and exceed it.
And then again, I'm gonna leave the rest of the settings the same and click Generate Video. Alright, our video is done. Let's play this.
I expect nothing but excellence from this team. Let's set the bar high and exceed it.
So you can see pretty good. It lip syncs his face and body to the audio perfectly. Now, one thing to note is that this input image, it's a bit taller than a square, but since my video output settings are 768 by 768, it ended up squishing this video to a 1:1 aspect ratio. So you can see his face and even the poster in the background is kind of flatter. So note that if you are uploading an image that's not 1:1, note that you do need to adjust the width and height here to preserve the original aspect ratio. And I'm just opening up my terminal here. Note that at least for me with 16 gigabytes of VRAM, this took around 15 minutes to generate. Anyways, let's get rid of this audio clip and try a Chinese male audio clip. So let me play this for you first.
真正的勇气是敢于面对内心的自己。
And then again, let's scroll down here and click Generate Video. Alright, our video is done. Let's play this and see what we get.
真正的勇气是敢于面对内心的自己。
Perfect, so you can see it also lip syncs with different languages. It moves his face and body. Everything just looks very fluid. So it's a pretty simple interface that sums up how to use it. Next, let's actually go over how to install this locally on your computer. So all the instructions are on this GitHub page, which I'll link to in the description below. And there are a few things to note. Note that right now I'm still running the slow model, and it seems like they will release some faster models in the future. Like as I showed you in those examples, some of the generations took around 15 minutes to run, even with 16 gigabytes of VRAM. So hopefully they will release a faster version. And then if you don't have an NVIDIA GPU, they are planning to release an online demo on ModelScope or Hugging Face for you to use online. Anyways, just to go over some requirements for this, you do need a CUDA GPU and a CUDA version of at least 11.7. Now, they've tested it with these GPUs, and I'm using an RTX 5000, which has 16 gigabytes of VRAM, but on their interface, as I've shown you before, they also have this quantized version for users with 12 gigabytes of VRAM. So I believe you can still get away with using this if you have 12 gigabytes. If you have something lower, I'm not sure if you can use it. Welcome to share in the comments below if you have lower than 12 gigabytes, but we're still able to run this. Let me tell you about this awesome tool called Chat LLM by our sponsor, Abacus AI. This allows you to use the best AI models out there all in one integrated platform. This includes the latest O1 Preview, O1 Mini, as well as other state-of-the-art models like GPT-4o and Claude Sonnet 3.5. Plus, they have a new Route LLM feature, which automatically picks the best LLM to use based on your prompt. They also have a Search LLM feature, which searches the web to find the latest and most accurate information for you. They also have a Humanize feature where you can set the tone to generate and it would make it sound more human and less AI. You can also generate images right from the chatbot, and they're using the best generator out there, Flux Pro. Plus, you can even generate videos with a single prompt. Plus, it has a really cool artifacts feature, so if you're coding or building something with it, it allows you to view and interact with the app side by side. And you can easily create documents such as PowerPoint presentations just by prompting it. You can also drag and drop PDFs and documents into here for it to analyze. This is great for generating reports and analyzing data easily. They also have a new feature called AI Engineer, which allows you to create your own custom chatbot fine-tuned on your own custom data or instructions. This is a really powerful way for you to use the best AI models out there all in one platform. Try it out via the link in the description below. So those are all the requirements. Now let's go over how to install it. So the instructions are all here. The first step we need to do is git clone this repository, and this does require that you have git installed on your computer. If you don't have git installed, here's how to install it. If you already have git installed, feel free to skip to the next section. So all we got to do is download the latest release for whatever operating system you're using. So I'm using Windows, so I'm just going to click on download for Windows. I'm running 64-bit, so I'm going to click on this to download, and it's now downloading this exe file. So once that's completed, all we got to do is open that exe file and then follow the steps. So I'm going to click on next. I'm just going to go with the default install location, which is program files/git. So I'll click next for that. And then I'm just going to leave this at the default. And then I'm going to click next again and click next here. We're just going to use the default settings for all of these. There's a lot of settings that you need to go through, so I'm just going to click next for all of these. All right, and then it should go ahead and install all the files, so this might take a few minutes. Perfect, so now we have Git installed. All right, so assuming you do have Git installed on your computer, you first need to pick a location on your computer to clone this repository. So I'm just going to clone it on my desktop. So I'm going to open up my desktop, and at the top bar up here, I'm going to type in CMD, which will open up command prompt in your desktop folder. The next step is to copy this line of code. So I'm going to copy this and then paste it in here to git clone this repository onto my desktop. All right, so after that is done, you should see this EchoMimic v2 folder on your desktop. So I'm just going to drag this over here. And then if I open it and I compare it with this repository, you can see that it's the same set of files and folders. So the next step is to change the directory to this EchoMimic folder, because right now we are still in desktop and we need to go one folder into this EchoMimic v2 folder. So we just need to type in change directory, EchoMimic v2. So I'm going to paste that in here. And now you can see that we are in our EchoMimic 2 folder. All right, the next step is we need to use Conda to create a virtual environment. So think of a virtual environment as like a separate hard drive on your computer that contains all the packages and dependencies that EchoMimic needs to run. And it's important to create this virtual environment because you might have existing AI tools on your computer that also use these packages and dependencies, but with different versions. And so if you install this without a virtual environment, it might conflict with your existing tools. So that's why we need this step to create a virtual environment. Now, this does require that you have Anaconda installed on your computer. If you don't have Anaconda installed, here's how to install it. If you have it already, feel free to skip to the next section. Now, I'm just on anaconda.com, and actually what I'm going to do is install Miniconda. This is a minimalist version of Anaconda. If you install the full Anaconda, it installs a lot of packages and dependencies that you might not need. This just takes up more room on your computer, and of course the installation time is a bit longer. But with Miniconda, it's just a bare bones package, and you can always install additional packages and dependencies afterwards. So I'm going to click on latest Miniconda installer links by Python version, and I'm using Windows, so I'm going to install one of these. Now, for free and open source AI tools, usually they do not support Python 3.12, so it's better to install the Python 3.11 version. So I'm going to click on this, which should download an exe file to your computer. Once it's finished downloading, simply double-click on this and then follow the steps to complete the installation. So I'm going to click Next, and then agree, and then let's set this to all users. I'm going to go with the default destination folder, and then I'm going to check this as well, clear the package cache upon completion. This just gives you back some more disk space without affecting functionality. Alright, once that's completed, let's click Next, and then we are finished. Now, we aren't done yet, so if you open up the command prompt and you type in conda version, you're still going to see that Conda is not recognized. This is because we haven't added Anaconda to our path yet. So let's exit out of this, and then to add it to our path, we simply search for this function, edit the system environment variables. We're going to click on this, and then click on environment variables, and then click on the one that says path, and then click edit. And here's where you add in the path of Anaconda. So it depends where you installed Anaconda. For me, I installed it in program data, so it's going to be in program data / Miniconda. And then if I double click on scripts, you can see that Conda is here. So this is the folder we want to paste in. So I'm going to right click on this and then copy as path. And then back in the environment variables window, I'm going to click new and then paste in the path here, and then click OK, and then OK, and then OK again. Now, if you open up command prompt again and type in conda version, you should see that we are running 24.5.0. So this shows that we have successfully installed Anaconda. Alright, assuming you do have Conda installed, I'm going to copy this line, and then with our command prompt open in this EchoMimic 2 folder, I'm going to paste it in here. So this is basically saying use Conda to create a new environment called EchoMimic, and this environment should use Python 3.10. So I'm going to press enter, and it's going to take a while to create this virtual environment. So I'm going to press yes to proceed, and we are done. So the next step is we need to activate this new environment that we just created. So I'm going to copy this line and paste it in here. So this is basically saying use Conda to activate our virtual environment, which we named EchoMimic. So I'm going to press enter, and you can see that now we have EchoMimic in parentheses at the start of every line, which signifies that we are in this virtual environment. All right, so the next step is to run all these lines. So I'm just going to copy the first line and paste it in here. Okay, it looks like we've hit an error already. It says to modify pip, please run the following command. So I'm just going to copy this line and paste it in here, and then click enter. So this is basically upgrading our pip from our existing version to 24.3.1. All right, so after that step is done, let's pip install all these Torch packages. So let me paste this in here and press enter. So you can see it has now finished downloading Torch, Torch Vision, Torch Audio, Xformers, and a bunch of other dependencies. And now it's proceeding to install all of these packages. So this will also take a few minutes. All right, after that's done, you should see no error messages. So let's proceed to the next step, which is copying and pasting this line. So over here, I'm just going to paste this in and press enter. Perfect, so it has successfully installed Torch AO. The next step is to pip install all the requirements that are listed in this requirements.txt file. So let me just paste this in first. And basically this is going to install everything that's listed in this requirements.txt. So it's quite a long list of dependencies. You can see that it's downloading all of these one by one. So again, this is going to take a few minutes. All right, if all goes well, you should see no error messages. So let's move on to the next line, which is to pip install FaceNet PyTorch. So again, I'm going to copy this and paste it in here. All right, so that was pretty quick. It was only 1.9 megabytes. So next, we need to actually download FFmpeg static. So I'm going to click on this link, which prompts me to download this .xz file. So let's save this, and then afterwards, let's open this up. You can use WinRAR or whatever unzipping tool you have. So let me open this up. And then afterwards, we need to extract this folder somewhere on our computer. So I'm just going to extract this into my C drive. So let me just drag and drop the folder into here. All right, so now we have FFmpeg static on my C drive. Now, the next step is we actually need to specify the path of our FFmpeg folder. So to do that, at least in Windows, we need to search for edit the system environment variables. So let's click into this, and then I will click on environment variables. And then you can either specify a variable for the current user or specify a system variable so that this FFmpeg path is applicable to all users on your system. So I'm going to go with system. Let's click new. And then for the variable name, I'm going to type in ffmpeg_path. And then for the variable value, I'm going to right click on this folder and then click copy as path. And then paste it in here without the quotation marks. So let's press OK, and then OK again, and OK again. So now this step is complete. All right, next we need to use Git to clone the pre-trained weights from their Hugging Face page. So the first step is to run this line. So again, I'm just going to paste this in here, and this will initialize LFS, which is used to download large files. And then the next step is to git clone all of this. So again, I'm just going to copy this line and then paste it in here. All right, so it looks like the total size of that was like 5.5 gigabytes. So depending on the speed of your internet, that might take a few minutes. But again, if all goes well, you should see this line again with no error messages. Okay, so after it has cloned this pre-trained weights folder from Hugging Face, if you compare the files and folders on GitHub, note that we are still missing 3 folders, this SDVAE, FTMSE, and then this SD image variations, and then this audio processor. So we actually need to click on each of these links below and download the rest of these folders. So let's click on this first one, and this takes us to the Hugging Face page of this repo. Now to download this, click on these 3 dots and then clone repository, and then here are all the instructions. So the next step is to copy this line, git clone this Hugging Face repository. So I'm going to copy this and then paste it in here. All right, perfect. So after it has done cloning this repo, let's go back here and then click on this next one, SD image variations. And then again, we'll click on the 3 dots up here and then copy this git clone line and then paste it in our command prompt interface. Note that this one is 5.77 gigabytes, so it might take a while for you to download this folder. Anyways, the final step is to click on this audio processor link, and it looks like it just prompts me to download this tiny.pt file. Now, looking at the GitHub instructions, it looks like I need to put this in a folder called audio_processor. So I'm going to create a new folder and name it audio_processor. And then I'm going to open that and download this tiny.pt file in here. All right, so after that is done, note that all three of these folders, the SD VAE, SD image variations, and audio processor should be within this pre-trained weights folder. So right now we've just downloaded everything in our main EchoMimic folder. So I need to drag all three of these into my pre-trained weights folder. And I also forgot to drag and drop this audio processor folder into the pre-trained weights as well. So let me just do that really quickly. So now if you compare all these files and folders with what's on the GitHub, you can see that everything is aligned. And after that is done, we should be good to go. Now, note that there are two ways to generate videos. One is to run this Gradio interface, which is a graphical interface that is, of course, a lot more intuitive to use, or you can just run this using Python code. Now, to make this as easy as possible, let's just go with the Gradio interface. So the final step is to just copy this line, python app.py, and then paste it in here. And it should automatically open up this Gradio interface. And that's pretty much it. Now, you also might be wondering, how do you start this from scratch the next day? Well, all you have to do is go to this EchoMimic folder, and then at the top here, type in cmd to open this EchoMimic folder in command prompt. And then type in Conda activates and then EchoMimic or whatever you named your virtual environment. So if you see EchoMimic in parentheses at the start of the line, that means you are now inside this virtual environment. And the final thing you need to do is use Python to open app.py. And that's pretty much it. That's how you start up the interface from scratch. So this does take a few seconds to load up. And also you might see this error, no module named Triton, but that's okay, you can ignore it. You don't need to have Triton to get this to work. All right, and it should automatically open up this interface. Now you'll probably see all of these settings in Chinese. So what you can do is just right click somewhere and then, at least if you're using Chrome, you should see this option translate to English. And that should translate all these settings to English. So let's test this out with one final example. I'm going to upload this image, and then for the audio, let's try this voice.
This indie film festival looks fascinating. Shall we go and broaden our cinematic horizons?
Alright, and then again, I'm going to leave all the settings the same and click Generate Video. Alright, so if I open up my command prompt, you can see that I have set it to 20 steps down here, and the total time it took was around 18 minutes. So let's play this and see if it works.
This indie film festival looks fascinating. Shall we go and broaden our cinematic horizons?
So you can see even with the pause in the middle of the clip, it was able to handle this pretty well. Note that there are still some flaws like her teeth, but other than that, I mean, this is a lot more fluid than previous lip sync tools, and this moves her whole body, not just the head. Anyways, that sums up my review and installation tutorial of EchoMimic version 2. Let me know what you think in the description below, and if you run into any errors while installing this, also let me know in the comments below, and I'll try to help you troubleshoot as much as possible. As always, I will be on the lookout for the top AI news and tools to share with you. So if you enjoyed this video, remember to like, share, subscribe, and stay tuned for more content. Also, there's just so much happening in the world of AI every week. I can't possibly cover everything on my YouTube channel. So to really stay up to date with all that's going on in AI, be sure to subscribe to my free weekly newsletter. The link to that will be in the description below. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.